come in game 2. Steph Curry and the crew stepped up, handled their business, blew out the Boston Celtics in game 2 of the NBA Finals. We got an NBA Finals series tied 1-1, heading back to Beantown. You know what that means, right? We got a lot to talk about. It's First Take in the house. Home of the NBA. That's right, I said it. And you'll see why in just a second. First Take's in the house. Let's go.
It's the Boston Celtics and the Golden State Warriors in game 2 of the NBA Finals.
All of this power came from the pain. I put in twice the work, but I never complained.
Curry in his bag, got it! The Warriors starting to put together one of those prolific third quarters. Curry! Cooking! Launches! The Warriors have responded. They have flat out outworked the Boston Celtics.
Come alive on the night scene. We the A-team. A-team.
Speaking of A-Team, look at the crew I got today. And the Best Dressed Award goes to CJ McCollum. How we doing? So good to have you here with us.
I'm great. How you doing?
CJ.
Good. Stephen A., JJ, I'm Molly. How's everybody feeling? 2 games in the books.
Good morning, everybody.
I'm feeling great. It's going to be a series.
Good morning, everybody. Hope y'all well. Yes, sir.
Stephen A.,
Go ahead,
I just
JJ.
wanted to tell you, I still don't know what the exact definition of a pick'em series is, but I think you're spot on that this is going to be a back and forth series of adjustments. Like what I've seen so far in game 2,
Well,
I'm excited about the next 5 games. Excited.
Well, a couple of things. Number one, you're sitting in that seat. You know the responsibility that comes with it, with me being out. That's number one. Number 2, responsibility number 1 is not to lie to the American people because you know exactly what pick'em means, okay? You just explained it. And number 3, CJ McCollum, it's good to see you, my brother. It's good to see you, my man. Welcome to First Take.
It's good to see you too, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's
right.
great to have you with us.
Yeah.
All right, let's get it. So as we've all just said about 8 times now, we have a series. The Warriors even it up in the NBA Finals with a 107-88 win over the Celtics. Steph Curry scored 29 points. He held it down and then some, and so did Draymond on defense. Take a listen.
I think everybody played with more force. It wasn't just me on Jaylen Brown. It was across the board. If I just pick up my force and no one else does, it doesn't work. So that's a total team effort. Guys being ready to help when help is needed, and guys taking on the challenge at the point of attack. So, yes, I wanted to come out and be more aggressive on that side, and I think I did a good job of that. But that's a full team effort. It doesn't just work because of one guy. Our offense is always a lot of Steph. It all starts with Steph. Whether, when KD was here, our offense still started with Steph. And, that's the way it's going to be.
I mean, the Warriors in the third quarter, dangerous. Had their best quarter in NBA Finals history last night, and it happened in the third again, outscoring Boston by 21 points and doubled up the season shooting percentage. Curry had 14. He scored as many points as the Celtics did. S.A., I'll start with you. Do you think too much is being put on Steph Curry's shoulders right now?
Offensively, I do think that is the case. It was nice to see Jordan Poole get his game going, no doubt about that. But Klay Thompson shooting 4 of 19 from the field, I don't like that at all. I think we got to pay attention to the fact that this is who they're going against. They're going against an elite defensive team that has some offensive firepower of its own. This game was a 2-point game going into the third quarter. We understand, and somehow, inexplicably, the Boston Celtics continue to struggle in the third quarter, which is the one blemish on the otherwise illustrious performance of Coach Ime Udoka this season. But nevertheless, when you take into consideration what Steph Curry is being asked to do, yeah, you got him last night. You couldn't close the deal in game 1. This series is tied 1-1 going back to Boston. When I think about the Golden State Warriors winning this series in 7 games, which I picked them to do, I'm thinking about the fact that both Jordan Poole and Steph Curry, or Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, get it going. It can't be Steph Curry and such a huge discrepancy between Curry and the rest of the guys on the offensive end of the floor in order to win this series. I think you're going to need at least one other individual to step up in order to win 4 games in this particular series.
Stephen A., we've talked about this all the time with the great Warriors teams and how their role players star in their roles. And I thought in Game 1, Otto Porter Jr. was great. Iggy had a couple of nice moments. Kevon Looney has been great on the offensive boards. Jordan Poole, of course, with a nice Game 2 bounce-back game. But the idea that too much is being put on Steph Curry, I disagree with that, just because we are talking about one of the top 10 or 12 best players in the world ever. We're talking about a guy who's on his second or third max contract. This is who he is. The Warriors system is Steph Curry. Steph Curry is their system. And so much that happens on offense for them is based upon him in pick and rolls, his movement off the ball. They got a couple layups just on miscommunication last night because they were so concerned with Steph Curry. Going forward in this series, the adjustment the Celtics are going to have to choose about, have to make a decision on is how they're guarding Steph Curry in pick and rolls. They primarily played drop coverage. Through 3 quarters of Game 1, the Warriors scored about 1.9 points per possession on those possessions. Last night in the third quarter specifically, when he got it going, that was drop coverage in those pick and rolls. So if they decide to potentially blitz, if they decide to sort of have the big up in that coverage, then all of a sudden you get the backside 4-on-3 action that the Warriors are so good at. And that's where I think you can see more counting stats from some of their role players. But to your point about Klay Thompson, he absolutely has to be better throughout this series if they're going to win this series. Like, he's got to be that guy that scores efficiently, gives you 20 to 22 points a game, and he's really struggled. And give some of that credit to the Celtics defense. I think, primarily Jaylen Brown in Game 1, but throughout Game 2 as well, they are doing a great job of contesting his shots.
To follow with that, I agree with JJ. I think Steph Curry is who he is for a reason. There's a reason why he's making $45 million a year. There's a reason why he gets double teams, triple teams. There's a reason why Dre keeps bringing up the fact that he's the focal point of the offense. It revolves around him. He scores with the ball. He scores without the ball. Him and Jordan Poole are the only players who can manipulate a pick and roll and make a play for not only themselves, but for other people. So I don't agree with it being too much pressure, but I do think that if the role players don't step up, they have no chance of getting out of this series. Klay obviously has to shoot better. He has to be more confident. He has to finish the bunnies around the basket. We need more Jordan Poole, third quarter Jordan Poole, where he's playing free, he's playing loose, but he's not just trying to score. He's driving and creating for others. I think that's when he's at his best because it opens up the lanes for his pull-up. It opens up the lanes for his pull-up tray ball as well. The series is going to come down the role players, not Jason Tatum, not Jaylen Brown, not Steph Curry. Draymond has to be active and engaged defensively. Poole has to be able to score. GP has to give them good minutes, and Looney has to continue to rebound, provide second chance opportunities, and set great screens. If they do those things, then they got action. But to say that it's too much pressure on Steph is blasphemy because he's the only unanimous MVP, two-timer. He'll probably win MVP of the finals if they win this series, and he's the golden child.
Well, let me say this. This is what I love about, first of all, I'm speaking to 2 highly intelligent and brilliant basketball minds who I've known for a few years. But this is what I love about the fact that y'all are being on First Take. You see, this is my show. You see what I'm saying? This ain't the basketball court. Both of y'all are wrong. Both of y'all. And why would I say that? Because J.J. Redick instigated the proceedings by trying to twist it, and then you fell for it, C.J. McCollum. So let me educate you both about what happened. The question wasn't, is there too much pressure on Steph Curry? The question was, is too much being put on Steph Curry? What do we mean by that? What is it going to take to win this series? We're not saying that what's being asked of Steph Curry is unfair, that it's too much. Oh, my God, this is Steph Curry. How could you put him under these bright lights and this pressure? That's not what somebody is saying.
Neither of us said pressure. We didn't talk about pressure, Stephen. Hey, don't twist my words. Don't twist my words. I answered the question.
T.J. McCollum said pressure on numerous occasions. Top Gun, fall back. I know you got the #1 movie. Just chill out right now, Top Gun. Sit back and listen to what I'm trying to say to you, okay? I'm saying to you is this, and guys, you know this, because you just articulated it with the astute breakdown that y'all gave. You didn't, everything that you're asking of Steph Curry, we understand that. The question is about, is too much being put on him because we're asking the question in the context, what is it going to take to win this series? You can't just sit there and look at him and expect him to rescue you game in and game out. Other guys got to step up and do all the things that you both articulated. Over the first 2 games, Steph Curry scores 21 in the first quarter. He finishes with 34 for the game, even though they neutralized him over the last 3 quarters with 13 points. They come back in game 2. He explodes. He finishes with 29. He drops 12 in the third quarter, but he had help. Jordan Poole came out there and did some things as well, and we know what Draymond brings to the equation, particularly with his intensity, especially on the defensive side of the ball. We'll talk about him later. All I'm saying is it can't be all about Steph Curry. Somebody else has to step up because they're playing the Boston Celtics. And y'all both know how big-time Boston can be. You're going to need more from the others for Golden State to win this series. That's all we're saying.
Stephen A., if you're talking strictly on production,